Wait, let me stop that. I didn't hear that. Hold on. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live Team Alliance training session. Thursday, December 2nd. Time right now is approximately 11:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As usual, before we get started with tonight's training, I'd like to welcome our new students, those of you joining us in training for the first time. Whether you're in attendance with us live tonight or you're watching the replay of this, you've definitely made the wisest decision of your lifetime. By now, as you should know, by choosing to train here with us on Team Alliance and learning and acquiring this skill set. This is going to prove to be life-changing for you. And I suggest that you plug in, follow directions and instructions, and just stay close to the fire. That will ensure that you grow and develop into the professional that you would like to become in order to be financially free through trading. Let me see if I can switch now to my Nadex platform. All right, so you guys should be seeing the Nadex platform on the screen now. Is that what y'all see? You'll see Nadex now, right? Okay. All right, very good. Matter of fact, I can unshare the other one. Let me do that now. There we go. All right, so Nadex is a great platform. In my opinion, it's the best platform that you can use to trade on. We trade specifically binary options here on this platform. Tonight's training, we're actually going to cover a different perspective of what you are actually learning already in training number 301, which is the primary training that teaches you the fundamentals of what we do in the market. It teaches you the process that we use when we trade, the process that we use when we observe. Most importantly, 301 is conditioning you to develop the aspects of your mindset that you need in order to effectively observe the market and wait for the market to present the correct environment and behavior that leads to profitable trades that we end up being in. So the perspective that 301 teaches you in is what I call the horizontal perspective. So you learn how to see stability in a slow market environment, and when the market is moving less as far as the price moving around. You're learning the perspective of seeing the market slow down so that ultimately you recognize stability in a horizontal manner, meaning that you see it going across. For example, on the chart you see these red and blue candles, and the candles represent 1 minute time periods of price movement, right? If I take this box and I put it here, if you look at the candles, with the exception of one, which is this one here, all of these other ones are inside of the box. Now, this is a box that's going across. It has a top and a bottom, yes, and the top and bottom represent the upper and the lower relevant strike price, right? And the fact that the market has all of these candles inside of the box is an indication that the market is in a slower environment. Because in order for you to see the candles move across, they have to stay within an area, that area being this box. So that's why right now you see these candles, the majority of them inside of the box. It's because you're seeing the market move in a slower fashion, and ultimately that will lead to the market creating the horizontal perspective that you see. So it looks like the market's moving across, right? Now, vertical is what you see the market doing right now, right? You see how literally right now, and this is perfect because this is actually describing the type of movement that you are waiting to see when the market is ready to actually set up a trade. And I'm using this particular candle right now because this candle is, or I should say has done exactly what represents the last minute of the binary. What is done here, which is not the last minute, is what we would want it to do during the last minute of the binary. Looking at the market from the vertical perspective, okay? Yeah, let me make this a little bigger. Yeah, that's good. So right where you see this arrow, this particular red candle, this candle is starting out inside of this box, and then it violates the bottom of the box and moves through it, and it ends up underneath the bottom of the box. So in other words, it's ending up underneath this strike price because the bottom of this box represents the lowest strike price for the area that we're looking at. This right here is vertical. So when you hear me make a reference to vertical, that's what I'm referring to. We actually want to see the market move across the strike. This is what I call a crossover candle. So specifically, what I'm going to use as a reference for this last minute activity is what I call a crossover continuation candle. And you're not going to forget that because it's all C's. Crossover continuation candle. That right there is the only way that you'll ever be in a trade looking at the market vertically. If it's not a crossover continuation candle, there's nothing. This training tonight will simplify the way that we look at this. Lots of questions, people recording what they think is the vertical as far as entering. But I'm breaking it down tonight for you so that you have full clarity on what it is that you are looking for and waiting for the market to do. This exact behavior here. Market starts out on one side of the strike. It moves through that strike to the other side of the strike. And I'm going to explain what else you need to already see before this takes place. Because this just represents what you want the last minute of the binary to do. But there's more that we have to cover so that you understand what you're actually looking for, what you're actually waiting to see when you look at the market from the vertical perspective. Okay? So, we're going to talk about the elements that we need. The first element that we need is momentum. This is the opposite of what we're looking for when we look at the market horizontally. When we're looking at the market horizontally, we want to see the market slow down. When we're looking at the market vertically, we want to see the market with momentum. In other words, we want the market to have so much momentum present that this happens, and it happens with power. The force behind the power is momentum. The stability in the market is what will prevent the momentum from turning into a U-turn, so to speak. So in other words, we do not want reversal energy present when we have momentum in the market. So I'm describing several things. The first thing being momentum, and the second thing being stability. So if you have momentum with reversal energy, what you'll find is you'll have big candles, and it'll be a big move, and it'll be a very strong move, but the move won't hold. Instead of holding, it will move however far it moves, and then it will reverse and go in the opposite direction, and potentially even turn to the opposite color. You guys have seen this many times. So we don't want to see that type of reversal energy present in the market, because that represents instability. And if the market is giving you that type of reversal when you have momentum, the market is letting you know that there's too much reversal energy present, and stability is not dominating yet. Okay? When stability dominates, in other words, there's more stability present versus reversal energy. When you have more stability, less reversal energy present, you'll see less of that until eventually you won't see that at all, because there will be so much of the stability present in the market that it's as if there's no instability whatsoever. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I was on Coffee and Charts. Dominance doesn't mean that there's nothing on the other side. It just means that there's so much of what we want on one side that it seems as if there's nothing on the other side. The existence of what we're looking and waiting for is so present that the other side becomes irrelevant. So in other words, there's so much stability that you don't even see whatever instability might be there. The stability present is so overwhelming that it doesn't matter that there is instability on the other side. Doesn't matter. And the first thing that we look to see present is the momentum. That's where it starts. So you actually want to see momentum present in the market, meaning not just big candles, but you want to see continuation of movement. So in other words, when there's a big move, you want to see that movement continue versus moving and then reversing and coming back in the opposite direction, which would more so be the instability that I just spoke of, which is the reversal energy. You see? So when you're observing, what you'll notice is as momentum increases, you'll see speed increase, you'll see more activity, and you may ultimately see volatility in the market, meaning you'll see that reversal energy with just more movement. in the market until you don't see that reversal energy at all. And all you see is the movement continuous. It's just a continuous movement. You'll have a series of these bigger candles. The candles will be longer. The candles will stretch across multiple strike prices many times. So you want to see that momentum. If you don't see that momentum, you don't have the environment yet. That momentum has to be there. If it's not there, we ignore everything else. Crossover candle means nothing without momentum. Nothing means anything without the momentum. So the same way that with horizontal, we're waiting for the market to slow down. When we look at the market vertically, we're waiting to see momentum kick in. It's not that we're waiting to see big candles, because you got big candles in here. You got a big candle here. You got a big candle here. But what you don't have is momentum. You don't have momentum yet. Momentum is not here yet. So don't mistake big candles with momentum. Momentum would more so look like a series of big candles. Multiple big candles. Multiple binaries with big candles. And larger moves. Okay? I'm describing it this way so that you kind of get a visual for what I'm saying. Like right now, if I'm looking at the market right now as it is, I see that there's no momentum. So there's absolutely nothing to do yet, period, because there's no momentum present. And again, for anyone that might have just came on, the reason that this arrow is here is just to point out the activity that you want to see during the last minute of the binary. It's what is called a crossover continuation candle. We actually want there to be so much momentum present in the market that the market starts out on one side of a strike price and the momentum pushes it across the strike. During that last minute, there's so much momentum, the market pushes it. It pushes itself. It pushes the price across the strike. And because there's so much momentum present, that push remains. The momentum is high. There's enough stability present for the move to hold. And that's exactly what we're waiting to see. And if we don't see the push, we don't have the momentum that we want yet. So that becomes what you're learning how to recognize when you look at the market vertically. That's all it is. It's literally the opposite environment of horizontal. Horizontal, we want a very tight, small candle market. Vertical, we want a very loose. And when I say loose, I mean the movement is momentous. It's continuous. We don't want to see reversals, but we do want to see movement that creates larger candles multiple times. Like you want to see movement, big candle, movement, big candle, another move, another big candle, another move, big candle. When you see those big candles continuously being created by the movement, that's how you know that the momentum is there. Then the next part to that would be that the stability is present, which holds the moves. So not only do you have these big candle moves, but the big candle moves are holding. They're not reversing. See? Same principle. So we're still waiting to see stability. See? And then, of course, the last part of it would be the crossover. So that's why I'm calling it a crossover continuation candle, because not only do you need the crossover, but you need there to be continuation, and you can't have that without momentum. So you see how it all ties in together? You're not looking for a trade. What you're waiting to see is the momentum that you need in order for the crossover continuation candle to have what it needs in that last minute when it finally does come. So it really simplifies this entire process for vertical. Like, I've taken my time and I've actually figured out how to make it as simple as possible so that everyone can follow along and understand what it is that we're waiting to see. Because it's not a trade that you're looking for. See, you're looking for the actual existence of momentum and stability together. Then if a trade does come, we know that it's going to set up as a crossover. See how it's starting to make sense now. And if you look at some of the older videos that I have directed you guys to, the ones that I pointed out to you were the crossover continuation candle. See, I had to isolate that in particular because that's the easiest way for you to not mess anything up. It's very difficult for you to mess it up if you have all of these things present at the same time. Matter of fact, you can't mess it up. If the market has so much momentum in it, and during that last minute, if it's crossing over, and you've seen already that the momentum is present, the big candles are there, the moves are holding, the candles are solid. When you're seeing that, you know that the market has the behavior that it needs already there. So now it's just simply a matter of time before the market presents you with the actual trade. And that trade will come through the crossover. And the continuation is just simply the movement after it crosses over the strike. It continues across the strike. So it starts out on one side, crosses over to the other side, and continues. And that's what your candle ends up looking like. It ends up looking like this, just on a larger scale. And prior to this, you'll see other larger candles versus these smaller candles, because right now you see that we don't have momentum present. Market is just right now kind of like in transition. It's doing a bunch of position changes, and overall it's in a slow environment. We don't have momentum right now. But when you do have momentum, that crossover continuation candle is going to look like this. See? Let me see. The mic been ringing the whole time? Is everybody hearing that? Anthony said there's a ringing in the mic. And I really hope not. Angel, it's been clear the whole time? Okay. All right. Well, Anthony, hopefully it's only on your end. That's what I'm hoping. Walker, you hear it too? Oh, maybe the timer? Oh, okay. Very possible. Let me turn this timer off. Yeah, maybe it's the timer. Because I don't have anything else on for it to be ringing. Let me see something. Let me mute all this stuff. Mute that. I just muted a couple of things. I don't know if that helped or not, or if you hear a difference. Does it sound different now? It's good? Okay. All right. Well, we got to go with it. All right, so as I'm talking about this, if you guys have questions, please interject with your questions. I know I'm very good when I'm explaining, but if you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask whatever the question is. Good question. Can there be too much momentum if the strike prices keep shifting? No. Nope. We want all the momentum in vertical. Now, what will keep you aware and sharp as far as your recognition of the stability is when you have a lot of momentum, you also have to have the market move into the correct position right before that last minute. So let me see if I can give some examples of what you kind of want to see and what you don't want to see. What the hell am I doing? All right, let me see any examples here. I don't have any examples, but one good example was, for a while people were wondering about whether you could enter in the last minute if the market has already crossed over the strike. So in other words, like say that you had a candle in the last minute, the position of the market is already under the strike from the previous candle. So in other words, it's like the crossover came one candle too early. The question would be, can you take the trade in that scenario? The answer is no, because those are not the best opportunities. Now, there many times will be enough momentum for that movement to continue, but it's different when you have the momentum in the same time that you're in right now. Does that make sense? Like, there's a difference between the market having momentum during a specific 1 minute period and then what the market decides to do in the next 1 minute period. If momentum is enormous, you'll just have continuation in both minutes. But sometimes the market will just reposition or pivot, and instead of continuing with that momentum in the same direction it's in already, it goes the other way. You'll have seen that many times. In other words, you'll see a big, like for example right here. Here's a good example. This. You have a blue candle here and then a red candle. Now, if momentum is present, it means that there's a lot of force and push in the move. That's not what you had here. But I'm just saying, if you did have it, you can have a lot of force and push, but if the market decides to pivot, you'll see this take place, where during 1 minute all the movement is this way, and that next minute the momentum is still there, but the market pivoted. It's like it turned, and now the movement is going in the opposite direction with the same force or with the same push. So yeah, I've seen that many times where you have a blue candle, then the red candle will be the same size. It'll be a big blue candle and then a big red candle. That is showing the pivoting I'm talking about. So when one candle closes and the next one opens, what the market is doing is it's actually resetting because people actually are in the market in time frame. I know that people wonder about that. It's like, well, why does the market do this minute to minute? 1 minute it's up, next minute it's down. Because when people are trading in the underlying Forex market, that's how people trade. They trade using the time increments. So for people that are on the 1 minute chart, if they're using, you know, for example, some price level somewhere and the market goes up to that price level, if you have technical traders or even trading desks that have orders waiting, what they'll do is they'll set the orders to hit at a certain price level, and it will coincide with the level that that candle went to. And on the very next candle, you'll see the pivot. It'll just go, whoop. It'll move with the same force that it had, but it'll be in the opposite direction. That's called pivoting. Okay? And it's important to understand that that's why we can't use the candle before the last minute as the crossover. So when you have the momentum, you want a fresh force behind the crossover. You don't want the previous candle to represent your crossover. Does that make sense? Did everyone understand that? Because I know that I'm saying a lot, but I want to make sure that y'all are grasping what I'm saying. And yes, what Jeff is saying is accurate. He's saying the right position allows you to observe into the last minute. Exactly. Exactly. And that's why you want the fresh crossover, because the fresh crossover represents the now. In other words, that's what the market's doing right now. It's going to do that now. It's going to cross over, and then it's going to continue now. We don't have to hope that it stays somewhere. You understand? You're not hoping that it stays. You're not hoping that it doesn't pivot. Because sometimes it could pivot. So if you're basing your trading decision off of what the previous candle did, wherever the previous candle positioned the market may not be where the market's going to stay. And if you have momentum behind the movement, the market can very easily pivot. It could just turn right around. See? But that's not something that will take place when there is the momentum that you need present, and it's the now candle. So in other words, if we're in the last minute, momentum is present, stability's there, that push turns into a crossover continuation candle. It turns into this, just a clean crossover continuation candle. Looks just like that. And that's how it'll look when it's moving. So, and I have many examples and recordings of trades. And this is like, you know, like moving forward, because I'm doing this training now. Now when I share certain recordings, you guys will understand, because this training is going to elevate your ability to recognize what it is that I'm actually doing in those trades. That's why I didn't show any of them to everyone in the group. The people that I knew that were already grasping the concept, I've been sharing with them. But now I can share with everyone who wants to understand vertical and even wants to be bothered with this. and now you'll understand what you're looking at. See? I never do things to confuse the collective. We have to have clarity. So even if you don't want to be bothered with none of this, if you like you already know, if you don't want anything to do with this, you don't have to watch it. You have so much other training that coincides with horizontal, like everything, all the other training. But if you do want to understand this, now you'll have full clarity on it. And yes, exact same thing. Jeff is saying similar to horizontal, it needs to be in position. Bingo. Exactly. Do you still click in during a price out like you would with horizontal, or do you dismiss it because the environment is different? It's very similar, but you'll notice that the pricing moves faster because you have so much momentum. So the market is really not giving you a lot of time as far as option pricing. That's why you have to know what the movement should look like. You need to know how the market should be moving already. So now once the market positions itself and then you're in the last minute and it's about to cross over, you anticipate what the market is actually doing and the force behind the movement by looking at option pricing, but also by looking at the actual market itself. So you're looking at the indicative and option pricing the same way that you do with horizontal. Difference is that everything is happening faster. So you don't have as much time to wait. When you recognize that that momentum is there, then the market moves in position, and then it's setting up that continuation candle in the last minute. You're ready. As soon as you see the pricing, you can see and you'll kind of have an idea also of how much momentum is there by what option pricing does. Sometimes option pricing will jump substantially. Like I've seen instances where one, moment you have the market in position, it's going into the last minute, and when you go into the last minute, you're looking at option pricing, like say on a sell, for example, and pricing is in the 50s. It'd be like 55. Then you'll see 30. And you're like, oh shit. Because you know that that follow through is still there from the existing momentum that was already there. So it'll go from 55 to 30, and then you might see 19. So in two ticks, 50, 35, or 50, 30, 19. Mind you, that was like 3 seconds. So 3 seconds into the last minute, your option pricing is already there, and you're not even seeing the market move across the strike yet, even though you know it's going to. Because that's how the timing is. So it's like you learn how to see the timing because of what the market has already been doing. That's what's giving you what the timing is. It's never like a standard timing that you're using. You're using the timing of the market now. Sometimes there's a lot of momentum. Sometimes there's good momentum. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is textbook right here. That was beautiful. Everything lines up. It's gradually making its way, 50, 40, 35, 25, 20. It's doing that. And you're seeing the indicative move simultaneously. Sometimes the timing is that in sync where you'll have them both doing that simultaneously. And then other times the momentum is so much, it'll be 65 and then it'll be 40. You'll just see the option price go from 65 to 40 and then to 20. And it's like, oh shit, I don't have a lot of time to react to this. But again, the only reason that you are even prepared to enter is because you already know that the momentum is present. You see what I'm saying? It's not like it's coming as a surprise to you. You know that that momentum is there, and now the momentum is even more than it was if it's making the option pricing jump that fast. So you don't have a lot of time, and you learn how to recognize the times when you see that much momentum present in the market, and you'll know. But that's a good question. Very good questions. Would momentum be a condition in the market and then stability transitions in and out? Like horizontal needs to be slow, then we observe for stability. Very good question. The way that you see instability is reversals. When there's too much reversal energy going on, you'll see it. You'll know. And if that's the case, there's nothing to do, even if you have the momentum. So until that reversal energy subsides and then ultimately it's like it's not there, you know that you're not ready yet, even if you do have the momentum. So for that reason, I would say that the vertical is probably easier to deal with as far as like the transition, because reversal energy is so obvious in speed. When there's a lot of momentum present, you can see reversal energy like a mile away. Like you see it. Like, nope, no, we ain't there yet. You'll see it, and when you see it, you just ignore everything because it's like, nah, we're not ready yet. You know what I mean? Even in instances where the speed is pricing out the option as it's crossing over, if it completely prices out and you didn't have time, you do not ever chase. We don't ever chase. So let me be clear with that. We're never going to chase. We're going to be prepared and we're going to be ready. And when the market gives us that open door to enter, that's when we take the entry. But if it happens so fast, it's like you don't even see it. And it's like, oh damn, look at that. You leave it alone because we don't chase. We never chase. So one of the things that I have told students that I've been already communicating with about this is that if you don't feel comfortable with what you're seeing, or you feel uncomfortable with how fast things are happening, let it be. Like, don't force it. Just let it go. Let it go. You don't have to force it. There will be plenty of trades for you to be able to participate in. Trust me when I tell you. It's being able to recognize momentum, and then being able to recognize momentum without reversal energy in it. If there's no reversal energy, you know that it's stable. So I look at it more so from that perspective. Once I see that there's momentum, I look and see, is there reversal energy too? If there's no reversal energy, I know that we're stable. And then you start to see it manifest. You'll see the bigger candles. The candles will be solid, and there'll be very little reversal energy, if any. Because like I said, it's not like it's non-existent. It's there, but you want the stability and momentum to overwhelm whatever reversal energy might be present. Very good question. Anthony's asking something very, very good. Very, very good question. I was waiting for this one. How does hesitation play a role, if any? The market might have the momentum, but it doesn't start right away. Very good question. That's timing. If there is a delay in the momentum, you let it go. Remember, we don't chase and we don't try to catch up. Okay? We don't chase and we do not try to catch up. So if momentum comes into the market like delayed, we don't chase that. We don't try to catch up to that, I should say. Sometimes there'll be a pause. 25 seconds goes by. It's still pausing and hesitating. Nah. The way that we want to see momentum present, we want momentum to be there at the beginning of the 1 minute. The beginning of that last minute, we want the momentum to be already there, ready to go. Ready to go. If there is any type of hesitation or pause, it should be very brief. It shouldn't be 10, 15, 20 seconds. 2 or 3 seconds, 4, 5 at the most. 20 seconds? No. Good question. So hopefully that answers that. And remember that you'll see hesitation at the beginning, or you'll see a delay at the end. Meaning that sometimes it'll hesitate before it moves, and then sometimes it will be a delay where it moves after the fact. It's like there's 20 seconds left on the clock, and now it decides to go. That's a delay. It didn't give you a window of opportunity to do anything, so leave it alone. But that's a good question. But now let's say that you see big full candles with no wicks, obviously momentum and stability present, but at the last candle the market back ticks a couple of times or once before it shoots up or down. Excuse me, is that a disqualification? Big full candles, no wicks. Last candle, the market back ticks a couple of times or once before it shoots up or down. Is that a disqualification? It's not necessarily a disqualification, but if you are uncomfortable with that, until you feel comfortable with seeing that and then seeing the momentum come, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. Because I don't want you to get into curve fitting. We can't curve fit, period. We ain't going to do it with horizontal, and we ain't going to do it with vertical either. And yes, absolutely, you can build a recording database without entering any trades. Yep. Yep, and I encourage and I actually want to see more of that. Like I want to actually see instances and videos where you guys talk about why not. Like you saw me do that multiple times during last week. I was putting videos in the chat showing why there was nothing. The reason why. So yes, that's definitely important. Technically, we're always looking at vertical and horizontal stability. But I understand why you're asking that, and the answer is yes, but the answer is also yes to horizontal. So the key is stability. And we know that stability is something that becomes dominant. When it's dominant, it will manifest in one of two ways, depending on the one of two environments that the market's in. If the market is in a faster environment, then you'll see the stability manifest through what I'm describing now. More so of the candles moving in one direction continuously, either uninterrupted or with so much momentum that there isn't enough reversal energy to interrupt the flow. So this is more so what I'm describing a specific, not only, it's not just a specific behavior, it's a specific level of it. Because you guys keep hearing me say a lot of momentum. Momentum is the push. When the market is pushing, it means that there's so much force behind the movement that unless reversal energy is enormous, the push is so strong in the market that the market just goes wherever it's going. That's the idea, more so. When you have that push so strong and that momentum so strong, it forces the market to be stable with the movement. See, there's not enough reversal energy to interrupt the force. That's what we're doing. Another name for that is stability. That's just another name for it. But it's more so what I'm describing. There isn't enough reversal energy to stop it. So when it goes, it goes. And it's staying where it's going because there's too much force for it not to. Does that make sense? That's what we're waiting to see, that level of momentum. Momentum that turns the market stable, forces the market to become stable. The force that forces the market to become stable. That's how much momentum we want to be present in the market. So anytime there's enough reversal energy, that's when you'll see the reversal moves in spite of the momentum. But if there's not enough reversal energy, we ain't going to see that. We're going to see power moves. Big moves, candles. They, with so much force that they crossing over strikes. That's what we want. There's also something about the market when it interacts with strike prices. This is another reason why I decided to use the crossover in the last minute. Because when the market interacts with price levels that are set at these strike prices, when that force is present, it goes across. And it goes across with authority. It ain't coming back. So again, that's the whole idea. The fact that it didn't cross over yet when you started means that the market is giving you a little bit of time before it crosses over. It's giving you time to observe. You can watch option pricing. You can watch how the momentum is kicking in real time, in that last minute. So the fact that the market positioned itself that way gives you time because it didn't cross over yet. But because momentum and stability is there, it's going to cross over. And as it does, you'll have your opportunity to enter because you'll see option pricing moving accordingly. See? So again, it is simplified for us. The market really is making it simple for us. That's really what it is. And the reason that I'm able to communicate it to you all is because I align myself with the market very well. I'll just sit there and wait and watch. A lot of people, they don't have the patience to just watch and observe. I do. I developed that first. And because I developed that patience, I've been rewarded. And that's what I'm passing along to you. So now when I explain it to you, like, just listen to how simple it is now. Like, oh, okay, wow. So momentum, stability, all right. Crossover, continuation. Ah, there it is. In a nutshell, literally, that's what the whole thing is. Yep. You gotta let me know what the acronym means. What'd that say? FOMC or FOMC MH? Is there a minimum number of micropips we can see using high-low open close data to say, okay, when I see this amount being dominant, I know that this is momentum coming in, because sometimes they're big candles but doesn't represent momentum. No, don't do that. Don't apply that here, because that's going to just be a distraction for you. The way to know is by just knowing, because you watched. When you see multiple candles going through strikes, and those candles are clean candles, when you keep seeing that, you know that the behavior is present. If you're not seeing candles go through strikes, really, you don't have the momentum yet that we're waiting for. And look, I didn't even read this part. You already said what I just said. You said, so we want to see bigger candles crossing the strike over the course of multiple minutes. Exactly. See? So you had already answered the question. Yep. Very good. All right. Do you have other questions? Jeff says dominance of candle through strike and move hold. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And even when you kind of go back, like now we're in what, 2 micropip? Yeah, we're 2 micropips of distance apart. If you look at all of this, if you just go back and look, you can see that there's very few candles that just went clear through strikes. Like you had one here, this one. This was at 10:19. You had one over here that was at 10:37. You had one here at 10:50. So like here, right here, this was kind of like a little series, but not quite. It's not there yet. And you know it ain't there yet because you'll see all these small candles coming back, and then it'll just be, doing the whole transition thing. All these candles is in the box. Nope. Here you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes of activity between, like in the box. It's still in the box, even though it's moving up and it's going up diagonally. It's still in the box for 5 minutes. You want to see the candle just go through the strike now, like this one. See? Go through this one. This covered from the top of this strike down to the bottom here. Kind of want to see more of this. When you start seeing more of these that keep going through strikes, like you want to see, like in 3 or 4 minutes, 2 and 3 strike prices are penetrated in 3 candles. Stuff like that. So that's kind of visually what it looks like. Like you'll have a big candle here, another big candle here, maybe some activity here, then another big candle here, another big candle. You know, like you understand what I'm saying? You'll see multiple big candles that are going through strikes versus staying in the box. So like I said, it's the opposite of what we look at horizontally. So, you know, you go back, you didn't really see too much of it. You didn't see a lot of it at all. And still don't. So, even now, you know, this is just position change, pretty much. Now look at where the market is, right here in the middle. It ain't doing nothing. And now you see that movement going towards the end of this minute. That's delayed. See, like I watch this and I look at that. I'm like, all right, movement is delayed a little bit. But even without that, I can see that these candles just ain't big enough yet. The movement is just not momentous enough. So just wait and watch. Same way that we do with horizontal. So this was very good, actually, this training. I think I covered everything well. And you guys kind of already knew what to look for, but you just didn't know how to have it like in a uniform way with structure. But now you got it. This training gives clarity and it gives a name. Crossover continuation. Last minute of the binary. Yeah, vertical, we definitely use a quick glance, and it's very easy. I mean, what I do, I look and see if the candles are small, and it's next. Like all of this, nope, 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 nope. It's just one out, nope, 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 nope. Now, then when I see that candle that goes through two strikes, now you got my attention. That could be momentum coming in. If that momentum continues on, I know that momentum is coming in. If it keeps going, I know momentum is here. If the crossover comes, that more than likely is going to be the trade. So, I mean, it's that simple. Yep, so very good questions. Yeah. So, I mean, like you'll see, it's the same thing that we do with horizontal. It's just from a different perspective. And we're just looking for and waiting for the momentum along with the stability. That's it. So kind of like how the same way in horizontal, we're waiting for the market to slow down. Here, we're waiting for momentum to come in. So that's like the phase one for this. Phase one for this is momentum. Phase two for this is stability. Sound familiar? Sounds just like 301 in reverse, huh? So phase one for this, momentum. Phase two, stability. Phase three, crossover continuation candle. So in other words, phase three is the same thing that it is in horizontal. What do we do in horizontal? Parameters. You apply the same parameters here. So again, the only difference is that you have to be able to see things faster because you're dealing with momentum and you're dealing with power in the move, right? So there's naturally going to be different degrees of that. But when you have it, and you just learn how to recognize that it's there, and then you'll be able to align what you're doing in that last minute with the actual trade that's setting up. So you don't really have, see, it's like what I'm doing with you guys is I'm conditioning you to recognize the right behavior and environment first. That way you don't have to be so concerned about the trade. Oh, I don't know if I entered right. Like, it's not about entering right as much as it is about entering at the right time. Wow, that's a Don DeMarco. Hold on.
Don DeMarco. Don DeMarco.
That's what it's about. It's not about entering right. It's about entering at the right time. What I've personally been doing for a time now is vertical, because I know that I wanted to collect recordings for when I would ultimately do the live training. So, like, I already got a database of recordings of actual trades. So now I can share those trades in the group chat, and you guys will understand what you're looking at, and then you can get an idea of what I was doing at the time and what the market was doing at the time when you look at the recordings. So I've been just sticking with the vertical. But again, whatever you decide on, just pick one. Don't go trying to do both. I know I don't have to tell most of you that. But, you know, some folks need to just hear it again. Don't try to do both. Pick one and stick with the one. All right. All right, so did you guys have any other questions? Any other questions? Pleasure is all mine. Pleasure is all mine. I don't even know what. I forgot what number this is. Is this 735? I think this is 735. No, it might be 736. I don't even know what the number is. Oh, 738? Oh, I'm way off. Sheesh. When did I do 737? I don't even remember that. That's terrible, right? Now I don't even feel bad, because that means that I've just been putting in the work. That's good. All right, 738. Right, 737 was layers of stability. Got you. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is going to be trainer 738. So this, I think I'm going to title vertical stability. Crossover continuation, part 1. Yeah, vertical stability, crossover continuation, part 1. My pleasure. All right, so no one had any further questions, correct? Everyone is good for now? This is really good. This is really good. So, like I said, this is going to give a lot of clarity to what people were wondering about. Because people were trying to figure out what was going on and, like, you know, kind of guessing. So I just let everybody be for a while because I wanted to collect the recordings. So I got a lot of them now. Plenty of recordings, and you know, we'll be able to share and engage in the group regardless of what you're doing. So if you're doing horizontal, continue to do what you've been doing. Nothing changes. Continue to record, continue to post. Walker does an excellent job of posting recordings, like, regularly. And then when he does the Market Mondays and stuff like that, all of that adds to the way that you observe and the way that you record and just the way that you kind of engage. he represents what you should strive to do with the recordings. So that's kind of what you want to strive to do. You see how he posts all the time? Like here, what y'all think about this? Y'all think this was MRMH? Here, check this out. This was MRMH. Here, check this out. This is follow through. He's recording, he's observing, and posting. So by us collectively doing all of that, it helps everyone in the group to grow. So now, again, this is just another perspective of what we already do. And it'll just be the same thing. All right? All right, y'all. Mark Fuller, Team Alliance. So this is training number 738. And that's about it. So hopefully I covered everything as far as questions go, and I didn't miss anyone. And if you guys have further questions, just feel free to post them in the group chat. I'm sure that you probably will at some point. All right? Yes, indeed. Promised land. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Love, peace, and soul. I'll see y'all in the group chat.
Dom DeMarco, Dom DeMarco,